So the atmosphere is building here in Nigeria, where more than 93 million registered voters are expected to cast their votes on February the 25th, the biggest ballot, of course, on the African continent. And what a cliffhanger it's shaping up to be. For the first time in decades, the main candidates come in various ethnic and religious shades, making some of them more acceptable in some regions and less so in others. And at the weekend, Lagos, seen as the stronghold of the APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu, became the flashpoint as thugs and those reported to be political hirelings attempted to disrupt the Labour Party's rally there. But such was the mass of people in attendance that it prevented what could possibly have been a much more violent showdown between opposing forces. But it's not just Lagos. There have been numerous acts of political violence in other parts of Nigeria. So looking with some dread at these incidents, will the giant shadow of violence and insecurity smother this country with its darkness on February the 25th? Or could this election be a watershed moment in Nigeria's history, a moment that changes this country for the better?
All your country has done in the past 20 years is to produce insecurity, to produce poverty, to produce joblessness, to produce actual strife, fuel scarcity, or one form of suffering or the other. Daddy and I are promising you that we will secure and unite Nigeria. We will secure and unite Nigeria. We will ensure that when we start, after some years, no Nigerian will say, I'm from the West, East, North, but we'll be proud to say, it's a Nigeria.
And that's the Labour Party's presidential candidate, Peter Obi, there speaking in Lagos. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by Kato, spokesperson for the Labour Party's Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So violence exploding at your rally in Lagos, not the best way or the best note on which to end your season of rallies, is it?
I mean, it's not our controversy. I mean, it was violence against us. So I would say that we should look at the bright side. We were welcomed so well by Lagosians. I mean, we went to Alaba International Market, and the love there was so much. These people trekked with us all the way to the highway, kilometers, and made sure that we felt so welcome. They came to receive the message, and that's what we should focus on. Lagosians do want to vote for Peter Obi. In fact, you know, the entire time they kept saying Lagos for Peter. It was a lot of chants, a lot of songs. They have formed songs among themselves. It was really great to see. So, I mean, we're really sad that this happened, but at the end of the day, we had a very good rally. It showed, it was such a show of a lack of a better word first, because a lot of people came out. It was a great rally, and that is what we choose to focus on.
Unfortunately, of course, there was violence. I mean, who do you think is behind it? Or was it just sort of random acts of violence?
No, it's not random.
Because, I mean, we know that Lagos has a lot of brawling crowds of so-called area boys who are sort of rather excitable and who tend to act sort of violently unbidden and whenever there's sort of a frenzy of excitement.
And unfortunately, you know, this is one of the things that my principal is seeking to end. The whole, you know, this issue where people are unproductive and are left, you know, to be fertile grounds for violence. And I wish that some of these boys would understand that, look, a Peter Obi presidency means a better life for them. You'll be more productive. You will be, you know, again, from consumption to production is the watchword for us. You'll be more productive. You'll be able to do things for yourself, contribute to your society, and not have to resort to this. And I will say, you know what, we can point directly, because even from last year, since last year, when Young Obedience said that they were going to organize rallies in Lagos and other parts of the country, they gave them threats. We saw these threats on social media. APC youth. We saw threats on social media saying, come out if you think you can come out. I think that rally was supposed to be for October 1st, and there were tweets that come out and will show you who are the real owners of Lagos. So if after seeing things like that, we come and see that people who are organizing themselves. I mean, these are not party hirelings. These are Nigerians, ordinary Nigerians, sacrificing their time and energy to see that their preferred candidate, a man they trust so much to deliver for them, they're sacrificing their time and energy, and then they show up and get attacked on their way to the rally. It's really sad. For any Nigerian, Nigerians should feel safe. Whether they are campaigning, whether they are not campaigning, we should be able to have a safe country.
Absolutely.
We should be able to have a safe country, and it's sad. But again, I would say that we should point to the fact that many of these young men who are participating in this are just largely because they are unproductive. They have been kept like this in the system that seeks to keep people poor so that they can use them, take advantage of them for things like this. And this is what we seek to end. Unfortunately, we are victims of it, but the Peter Obi presidency is going to target things like this and ensure that our youth are more productive.
But, I mean, why would the APC target the Labour Party in Lagos? I mean, does the Labour Party have the capacity to really upset the apple cart for the APC and Tinubu in Lagos? Because conventional wisdom suggests that it doesn't.
You know, several times Tinubu has come really close to losing Lagos. So, you know, we can't, Lagos votes is one thing that is always almost split in the middle. So, you know, this fallacy, this conversation that seems to make it look like overwhelmingly APC has Lagos, as if they haven't, you know, escaped by the by whiskers in the past, it's not, I don't think that should follow. I think that Lagos is for the taking. From what I saw in Lagos, I was there on Saturday, Lagos is for the taking overwhelmingly. I mean, today Peter Obi went to Mushin of all places, and the support there was really large. Everywhere we go, once people realize that, oh, this is Peter Obi's vehicle moving, you can see people. And the thing with Lagos, this is one of the best places, or one of the major places where people are organizing themselves. I was in Lagos before I went this time. I was there a couple of weeks ago, and you could see that, you know, the Uber drivers, the Uber vehicles I entered from the airport, from my hotel, you would see these people talking about how they are organizing themselves, saying, my ward, in my locality, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. This is my contribution to the campaign. None of these people are paid. People are bringing themselves, bringing their own resources, and they're volunteering for the campaign. And that's what we're seeing in Lagos. I tell you, Charles, Lagos is for the taking. And like I said, these people have escaped. APC has been escaping. You know, Tinubu structure has escaped by whiskers, just by very, very thin margins some of the time. And I don't think that this time is going to favor them.
But I mean, surely it's not a policy of the APC to go out and organize gangs and thugs to physically attack and intimidate their opponents. I mean, they've called, because I've heard them speak about this, they've called for the full weight of the law to come down on those who have done this and insist that they want to win the election fair and square. Do you see their point there? No,
I don't. I think that those are lies, and it's you know, stoning someone or beating someone and hiding your hand. And it's, I mean, this is not new. They did not invent this style of politicking or behavior. I mean, it's been there since. But I'll point to, you know, things like this happen because we are under policed. You know, there isn't enough protection for Nigerians, and that's why it's so easy for people to do this and be able to run and hide. And you know, the perpetrators, you can't lay hands on the perpetrators, and so even the perpetrators can come out and begin to speak as if they're not the people who carried out these things. But this is clearly the playbook of APC. They have been violent in this election. This is not the first time Obedience have been attacked in Lagos. You know, the Obedient flag boy, you remember that young man that used to carry the flag? He was attacked. This is not the first time. And you know, for Nigerians, ordinary Nigerians, to decide that this election we're not going to do voter apathy, we're going to not only come and vote, but we're going to put in our effort during the campaigning season, and then to just see this kind of brutality meted on Nigerians is quite sad. It's quite sad. It makes us wonder, you know, with everything we have suffered, why would anyone be against change? Why?
Well, let me just say that in the best traditions of international journalism, of which Arise News associates itself. I mean, the APC are welcome to have a right of reply to some of the allegations that are made against them and the link that's being made to them to these attacks on the Labour rally in Lagos. But I understand, though, from some of your colleagues that there were gaps in the Labour Party's own arrangements and preparations which might have fed into this violence and added fuel to the fire. What might these gaps be, and are you able to sort of plug them going forward?
I don't think that there were gaps, and this is why I would say this.
Well,
right?
Some of your colleagues said that. I won't mention people, names, but certainly some of your colleagues
People do have their opinions or their thoughts on issues, but you have to realize that when Labour Party is moving to a place, people are following, and you can't tell where these people are going to come from. But once they hear that Peter Obi is going to be somewhere, people will put on their regalia, carry themselves, and come to that place. So what do? You'll be expectant. That's it. People are going to come, and we're happy they're going to come. And we've announced this. I mean, law enforcement should know that a rally, you cannot have a rally in TBS without taking permission. You can't. So everybody's alert and knows that a rally is going to happen. Adequate preparation should have been made. We cannot come and take over the work of law enforcement in Nigeria. We cannot come and take over policing. But as long as a popular candidate is going to be somewhere, you know that Nigerians are going to gravitate towards that venue. And it's up to the state government, it's up to the federal government to have prepared for this for this rally. On our own end, every form of preparation the Labour Party should have done for that rally had been done. I do not think that it is the fault of the victim that attacks happened. The only reason that attacks happened on Labour Party people and supporters is because violent people decided to attack. So if you say, oh, you didn't protect yourself enough, from the attacks, I think that is a bit of victim blaming. I think so, and I don't think, I mean, in campaigns, it's really typical for people to be dissatisfied and all of that. But with respect to this, if we're looking at it from this, from the right point of view, is that you can't really blame a person for being robbed, for being attacked, for being beaten. The only reason that happened is because the perpetrator chose to do it. Labour Party people have, Labour Party supporters have organized themselves in the most peaceful manner throughout these elections. It's quite sad that this is happening.
And of course, you went on Twitter subsequently telling the relevant authorities to investigate and deal decisively with the perpetrators. I mean, were you impressed with the way the police reacted to those attacks, the speed?
No, not really. And I would say that, what I would have expected is for them to be proactive first. That the first thing, the best treatment is prevention. The best treatment for anything is prevention. And
but a lot of that happened for people on the way to the
rally. And I feel,
so
again,
you can't really, the police can't secure every inch of the
No,
state.
they can't. But then that, these are the routes that people are going to be using to come here. And I think that they should have been better prepared. At the end of the day, by the time I was leaving the rally, I saw a contingent of policemen, army men, and all of that coming there. And I want to thank them. But, up till now, I do not think that, at this point, we shouldn't be able to lay our hands on the people who did this. It wasn't just one person, it was several hot spots, and at least we should, let's just see one arrest. And I don't think we're seeing that fast.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with you. So given what has happened with your rally in Lagos, I know you touched on this briefly. I mean, has that shattered your hopes of making some electoral inroads in Lagos in particular, and the Southwest in general?
Not at all, not at all. The Southwest is for the taking. Look, the Southwest has never religiously gone one way. Their votes are split. This is a very educated region. Their votes are split. They tend to make very informed decisions, and it's not usually in one line. So again, the Southwest is open for the taking. They are open for a convincing argument, and that is the thing that Peter Obi has. He has a convincing argument, and the second thing is he lacks trust deficit. People trust this man to deliver. His antecedents, this man has been on the right path for a very long time. People believe him, and that is something that is very tough in the Nigerian terrain. When politicians speak, people be like, we've heard this before, we do not believe him, but people overwhelmingly believe Peter Obi. And Lagos is one of those places where people believe him. One of the things that make me, really believe in this is that, look, more than anywhere else, people are organizing themselves in Lagos. Look, we did not pay for a single bus to bring anybody to the venue in Lagos. These people organized themselves in their corners and decided to come, and that's it. So I mean, what we saw in Lagos, again, Lagos was so good that after we left, Peter Obi had to come back again today, because we could not do Lagos for just one day. There's so many parts of Lagos, and everybody wants to witness this man. Everybody, all of these markets, we went to one market. No, you didn't come to ours. You didn't come to ours. People are sacrificing their time, their energy, and Lagos is for the taking. I really believe it.
And does this level of thuggery in Lagos shine a light on the potential problem of violence and insecurity that could really create a point of tension and lawlessness in this election? I mean, I'm wondering how much that worries you, and whether it suggests that violence is likely to increase as the candidates get on the final lap, and I mean, there's just a couple more hurdles to jump.
I'm concerned. I'm concerned, and I hope that with this concern, one is looking at for law enforcement. You have seen what has happened, especially in places like this. You've seen the flashpoints where this violence can happen. What are you doing? And I think that right now, as we are doing the rounds and campaigning, I believe that in any sane society, the Nigerian police force, the Nigerian military, all of these groups, you know, civil defense, should be going around and doing the media rounds right now. I think you should invite them. They should be doing media rounds right now, educating Nigerians and telling us what they are going to do to secure Nigerians on election day, so that people feel a sense of safety and confidence to come out. And this is their job. They're not doing us a favor. They're employees of the Nigerian people, and they should come out and tell us what they are going to do. And I'm not seeing enough of that, because I am concerned that there will be a lot of violence, that if people feel that, look, these elections are overwhelmingly turned against us, we only have two things to play with. Number one, vote buying. Number two, violence. Vote buying has been greatly reduced by, you know, what is happening with the Naira notes. So the next play is violence. And anybody, I mean, I, an ordinary citizen, can see that this is what it is. More, you know, what more people who are actually paid, who have, you know, all of the time, this is your job to look at this. This is your job to, you know, be able to say, this is what is going to happen, predict it, and be proactive towards stopping it. And I'm hoping that we're getting towards that. I'm hoping that this is what the Nigerian police force and other forms of law enforcement are going to do on that day.
Nevertheless, hail or heat wave, as we say, the show must go on.
Yes.
And your people will continue working hard in front of
Nigerians will come
behind the scenes and potentially endangering themselves.
Well, I mean, here is hoping. Here is hoping. It's a sense of, you know, people know that this is hanging there. That there may be violence. It might be my polling unit. It might be the next person's polling unit. But at the end of the day, you know, that sense of hope is what Nigerians are holding to. An election day just feels like the last hurdle. Like, you know what? Even if we are going to go through hell on this day, this is the one thing. This is where we have the power to choose. This is one election, like I said, that I'm not expecting voter apathy. That a lot of people are going to come out and put their foot down and say, you know what, we want our country to go this way. So it might feel like danger, but you know what, that one day as opposed to 4 years of hell, and we have experienced what, you know, decision or indecision can cause for 4 years. And so people are willing to make that sacrifice. Let's do it for this one day. Let's go out, whatever danger it is. This is just one day. And whatever we may be running for this one day might meet us in 4 years, you know. We've learned really, really heavy lessons with the Buhari administration. And I think that just sacrificing one day, we're up to the task. We can come out.
Well, that's positive advice. But is there any sense at all that something on this scale of threat to the elections means that the politics is put to one side in any way, and that concerted effort to avoid violence and intimidation cross-fertilizes, or is that simply not feasible? Because, I mean, you've had things like, you know, the Peace Committee and all the rest of it that all of you signed up to.
What is left in this conversation, what is left is sincerity and the political will to make sure that this doesn't happen. That is what is left. So we are expecting that, or we are hoping that this is not one of those times that law enforcement will look the other way. And this has happened across, you know, different events in Nigeria where law enforcement might be there and just decide to look the other way. We're hoping that this is one point. And, you know, another thing is, let's not talk about law enforcement like they are those people. They are also Nigerians. They are also affected. And I hope that this is a plea to them. Look, as a policeman, you're not, you know, your standard of living right now is really low. If something happens to you, there's not next to nothing that may come for your family. You know, you have to understand what the stakes are. And I'm hoping that this is not a case where law enforcement looks the other way. We're putting our hope, again, it's one day, 24 hours, and it will be over. This is all people have. This is the hope people have. If you go on the street, Charles, you will see people, like when we go for these campaigns, you will see the hope in people's eyes that, you know what, we're going to try our best on this one day. So here is hoping, again, you know, the way people are going to the polling units this election is, you know, everybody is a polling unit agent. Everybody is watching the vote. It's going to be one big family at the polling unit. So it's going to be difficult for people to come and carry out violence and just go. You know, it's in the era of voter apathy. You can come attack one person and then people will just disperse. And then you go. But I think because of how people are watching the votes, because of how careful Nigerians are this time, and because of that sense of hope that they are going to the polls with, I think that everybody will be watchful, and I think that it will be quite difficult to come and attack a polling unit and get away with it.
But I mean, somebody like yourself, I mean, you've been in the political arena to some extent for a while.
10 years.
Yeah, I mean, you've also been a political analyst, civil society, all the rest of it. I mean, some would say that violence, along with sort of deception and backstabbing, are all known to be part of the brutal world of Nigerian politics, but you sound almost surprised by it.
Not so much. I would say that I'm pretty upset by it, and I'm a bit detached from that kind of politicking. I've been here since, I think, age 24. I'm going to be 34 this year, and you know, what I have brought to politics and what I've tried to encourage people to bring to politics is intellectualism. That is what is needed in our political space, and that is what made me gravitate towards Peter Obi. That is the same thing he brings to the political space. So I'm speaking with a sense of hope that, you know what, the change and, you know, that effect that Peter Obi has been able to bring to our political space has created a level of difference, has changed the way in which we politic. And I know that as a journalist, you can feel that change. You can see that change, even with the kind of engagements you have here. You can see that change. So it's a sense of hope. I'm not naive. I know that this tends to happen in Nigeria. But I'm also seeing that people are beginning to, number one, stand up against it. For example, when this happened in Lagos, it happened to Labour Party supporters. You know that the Jandor, who is running under the PDP, actually stopped and helped some of these people. So we're seeing that, you know what, people are beginning to overwhelmingly reject this type of politicking. And it's not just us. Several other political parties are turning this down, that no, this is not who we are. And we want to move towards better. I think it's only people who know that they have not served Nigerians well, who know that, you know what, Nigerians are overwhelmingly pushing to replace them, and they have no other game to play. You can't come and say, for these past 8 years, we delivered overwhelmingly for you people. You can't convince Nigerians. In fact, you have an overwhelming trust deficit. So you know that you have no convincing argument whatsoever. What next? You try to use other crooked means, and this is what they are bringing. And it's disappointing. It's also great to see that it's, you know, Labour Party, the other parties are calling it out. So it looks like, you know, one group of people are singled out here. And the more we continue to call this out, the more we continue to push back, I think we stand, you know, a chance of not seeing this in the future. So I'm just, you know, my conversation is gravitating away from it, that we have moved beyond this. And it's sad that some people are still left behind.
Right.
And hopefully, this is the election season that we relegate those people who are left behind.
And I understand that this was the concluding rally of the campaign for the Labour Party and the Obi Datti presidential campaign. If so, how do you proceed in the next 12 days or so to the election?
I mean, the journey doesn't stop. Today he was back in Mushin. There's another gathering for Nnewi. The thing is, people cannot have enough of Peter Obi. I was speaking to a friend, Deacon Chris Yovare in Warri, and he was like, he still wants Peter Obi to come back to Warri. And Peter Obi has been in Warri 2 or 3 times already. You know, people are still, please come to Taraba, come to here. So people are still, you know, so we're going to keep going on. The central theme of our campaign is continuous engagement with the people. We are one with the people more than any party. We are one with the people, and we want to keep engaging. So we won't stop. There are smaller gatherings, there are bigger gatherings, and these things will continue to happen. You know, in the course of this, you know, there are other things. You know, there are places where we have to go and explain our policy drive, and that is what I'm big on this election season. To the embassies, to, you know, the international election observers, to international bodies, we've been doing that. And there's so many, you know, this campaign has so many tentacles. So everybody's working. We're not going to stop. And more than anyone, I mean, I'm not, to be honest, I can't do the things that Peter Obi does. We left him in Lagos. I know how my body felt after Lagos rally. But to see that he's still up and about, so it's not going to stop till the last day that they say, you know what, this is the final day for campaigning. We're still going to be going out to meet the Nigerian people. We want Nigerian people to understand that in an election season, they matter. And they don't matter for theatrics. It's not to come and pretend to drink water with them in the marketplace. We want to talk to you because you matter. Your thoughts matter. You know, the issues plaguing you, surrounding you in this country, it matters. And we want to continue doing that till they say, you know what, stop. That's the day we'll stop. So we'll continue. I
can see why you're a spokesperson.
Oh my God.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for
the time that you've taken to talk to us and explain your point of view and that of the Labour Party. That's indeed Kato, who's a spokesperson for the Labour Party's Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for having me.